Greetings, bonjour, from the first edition of the Healthy Nations and Heart of Earth Survival School news telecast. We're not sure what we're going to call it. This is our first show, and it's a joint venture between Healthy Nations and Heart of Earth Survival School. We have students behind the cameras in the studio taking video production, and I'm not really the person that will be here every day, but this is the first show, and what it's going to be about is community news, both nationally and locally. And every time we talk about something that is on, that I'll be talking about, the numbers and contact people will be notified on the screen of persons that you can get in contact with. So, so thank you for joining us today. What we're going to be starting with is some of the local news that are going on in the community in the month of March and some during the Indian month in May. What I'd like to start with is it is called the Peace, Feast, and Resource Fair, which will be held at the American Indian Center on Wednesday, March 19th. It is sponsored by the American Indian Youth Consortium, and it's a coalition of American Indian youth serving agencies committed to working together with the community to build a stronger and wider circle of support for urban Indian youth and their families. Everyone is invited. They want you to bring your parents, your grandparents, your family members, whoever else, aunts and uncles. And it's dealing with the gang issue that is a big problem in our Indian community. It's something that is hurting us all, and we must work together to bring peace to our community. So we need your support. We need you to be there, and that is at the American Indian Center, 1530 East Franklin, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Wednesday, March 19th from 4 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. The next thing that I have is called the Strengthening the Circle of Trust. It's a summit to create a vision of healing from sexual and spiritual abuse. That will be held on May 8th and 9th at the Holiday Inn Metrodome in Minneapolis. It is designed for American Indian community members and service providers. The workshops will be including boarding school and historical roots of sexual abuse, rape and sexual assault, homophobia and sexual abuse, criminal sexual conduct, and reservation law. And there are many, many other topics that we covered at this workshop. The evening will be they'll start on Wednesday evening with a ceremony called the Wiping of Tears. Jim Claremont will be doing that, and will be offered for survivors of sexual assault, boarding school abuse, or anyone in need. Then on Thursday evening, there will be a powwow from 7 to 11. The cost for the summit, for the two-day summit, is $25. Some scholarships are available. You may need to reserve a room at the Holiday Inn Metrodome by calling 338-4646. Or if you need more information, you can contact Bonnie Claremont at 298-4758. Another thing that is going on is a monthly event, and this is at the sponsored by the St. Paul Public Schools Indian Education, Early Childhood Family Education, Indian Education Programs, St. Paul Area Council of Churches, Department of Indian Work, and a Native American Special Projects. They have a weekly support group for American Indian parents. Family night is Wednesday evenings, 5:45 to 7:45 p.m. They have a family meal at 5:45, and the classes begin at 5:45. Class dates are March 5th, 12th, and 19th. And every month they have different dates, and they have one's listed for April, They have special field trips, special topics, evenings, and this is at 27 East Geranium Avenue, St. Paul. If you want more information, you call North Central ECFC at 293-5346 or Indian Education at 293-5191. Okay, now we're going to do a local event that happened in December. It was a Leonard Peltier rally that was held at the American Indian Center, and we'd like to show you some slides from when that happened. As I mentioned before, the slides there were part of the Leonard Peltier rally that was held at the American Indian Center on December 19th. It was a tour that was going all over the country trying to get support for another court hearing for Leonard Peltier. The slides were done by Dick, forgot that part, I forgot his name. And the music was by Lakota Blues. It's a very big issue that the information and things about Leonard Peltier get out to the community and hopefully get some support so that the politicians will know what is going on and hopefully will know that the Indian people care about the issues that affect our lives. And so anyway, that is one of the things that of the many events that happen at the American Indian Center. And right now we'd like to go on do some national news. I feel like a reporter, I don't know. Okay, here we go. What we're going to be talking about here is the Sovereign Dene Nation, Dene Alliance request. And they asked that we get this information about on this October 28, 1979, 5 years after the U.S. Congress passed Public Law 93-531, the Relocation Act of 1974, the communities of Black Mesa, Arizona, led by Big Mountain resistors, issued their proclamation of Declaration of Independence from the U.S. government and Navajo and Hopi tribal councils. Today we are faced with this passage of PL 104-301, the Navajo Hopi Land Dispute Settlement Act of 1996, and a recent HTC resolution that sets the deadline for the Dene of the Hopi partition land to sign the latest proposals, the accommodation agreement, by March 31st, 1997, or be forcibly evicted and relocated on April 1st, 1997. This issue has been going on a long time, and it's very complicated, and hopefully the things that we have here will help you understand some of the things that are trying to be the dispute is about. So we'll have some phone numbers for you and other information on the screen later on. But according to the traditional Dene and Hopi, there is no land dispute. Therefore, no need for mediation. The relocation factor is our plight has always been the abundant natural resources that lie beneath Big Mountain, a sacred shrine to the Dene and Black Mesa. The female figure in our religion first, the people and the animals must be removed before the mining companies can get to the coal, uranium, water, etc. The relocation legislation is designed to legitimize the official policy of cultural genocide at the expense of the Dene, of the HPL. The traditional Hopi have always told us to never accept HTC jurisdiction, or else you'll be under the police state like us. Peabody Western Coal Company is the only entity directly involved that there is at the, I'm sorry, let me start again. Peabody Western Coal Company is the only entity directly involved that is not at the negotiation table. The fence line that goes from PWCC's mine sites to the HPL is a direct link in a land and coal issue on Black Mesa. The bottom line is huge profits will be made once the land is made ready for development via the relocation program. All other parties have only one agenda: to remove the Dene of the HPL by any means at any cost. The parties include the United States government, the Navajo and Hopi tribal councils, Attorney Lee Phillips, the Hopi Navajo Land Commission, and the mediation team. Token Navajo community representatives who give official credence to the agreement and are responsible for the ongoing development without the consent of HPL communities. The sovereign Dene Nation and its political arm, Dene Alliance, have rejected a accommodation agreement outright because of the ominous threat that it poses upon our Diné's religion and spiritual way of life. This is an issue of freedom of religion and of speech, and about the continuation violation of our human, civil, and religious rights, guaranteed by the U.S. Constitution, Bill of Rights, and other documents held sacred by all Americans everywhere. We have no due process or judicial recourse, and our issues and concerns have not been addressed or resolved by the agreement. The Diné resistors on HPL have opposed the forced removal of people and animals from their traditional Aboriginal homelands within the 6 sacred mountains on Black Mesa. The spiritual ties we have had with our animals is severed against our will to massive livestock impoundments and confiscation by the Hopi Rangers, a paramilitary agency, and the U.S. Bureau of Indian Affairs, and by ball fees too high for poor people to pay. The resistors have been targeted with selective harassment, persecution, surveillance, investigations, and other intimidation measures. Have been told they will be the first to be processed for timely evictions. They are directly impacted and forever affected by the relocation legislation. The combat-trained U.S. Marshal's Office and Bureau of Indian Affairs Police will head the multi-jurisdictional task force, especially created for the scheduled eviction. Over $350 million have been spent on this unprecedented relocation campaign that is reminiscent of the brutality of the 1860s, when our Diné people were rounded up and placed in concentration camps until they were forced to sign the Treaty of 1868. Or face permanent relocation, death from our homeland. PL 104-301 is not a settlement as it is touted. Rather, it is a financial burden that must be reversed, or will be far-reaching and overhaul spiritual price of American society. We'll pay the price for this miscarriage of justice. This is a critical time for us all. We live under a government that already practiced friendly fascism, and they will do this to us. They will do it to you. What can you do to help? Because ours is a spiritual battle, we ask above all for your prayers and offerings. You can express your concerns to President Clinton. Tell him to review the hand-delivered letter from HPL Diné 10-1396 ABQ MN. You may write to him or call his comment line at 205-456-1111. Navajo Nation's President Albert Hale, Post Office Box 9000, Window Rock, Arizona 86515. Hopi Tribal Chairman Pharaoh Sakakuku, Post Office Box 123, Kaikokesville, Arizona. Senator Ben Nighthorse Campbell, Chair, Senate Committee on Indian Affairs, SR-380, Washington, D.C., 20510. On March 31st, 1997, is the deadline for the eviction set for April 1st, 1997. There's a Big Mountain Spring Gathering. For information, you can call 505-371-5551. If you intend to come to the land at any time for your own safety, please coordinate this with this channel. Come self-sufficient, well prepared for cold weather and harsh conditions that may be forbidding to some. The roads become impassable sometimes. This is always a year-round need for sheep herders and helpers for our elders. Do not bring weapons, alcohol, or bad attitudes. Do bring cameras, film, camcorders, tape recorders, cell phones, scanners, and other communication devices. With warm clothing, basic food staples, and water are helpful. Be prepared to become eyewitnesses to our struggle to remain on the land and document the events that threaten the safety and the well-being of HPL Diné. The Sovereign Dene Nation, Dene Alliance Rock Sub-Office was created to coordinate the efforts on the land and to make sure the Navajo Nation government does not totally abandon the Dene who reside on the HPL. We need your assistance in keeping this office operational. All the more so we are near April Fool's Day. Our efforts are the resistance and straightening by your prayers and support. Your donation will offset the expensive need to counter this relocation. Office supplies are always needed, and volunteer research on the issue is welcome. So for more information, please contact Sovereign Dene Nation, Dene Alliance, Post Office Box 2889, Window Rock, Arizona 86515. Or you can telephone them at area code 505-371-5551. So this sounds like a big issue that is happening here at the end of March, and hopefully the numbers we gave you, you would like to contact them, please do, and show them that you support their issue. That was a long article, but we have one more that we'd like to cover, and this is regarding this appeared in the Star Tribune newspaper in February, end of February, and I'd like to read a little bit about what it's about. It's a report that urges removing Indian trust funds from BIA control. Not a new issue that's been talked about and been battered around for years, but I'd like to read what appeared in the paper. For more than a century, the Interior Department has acted as a hapless step-parent for American Indians, mishandling billions of dollars of their money, auditors say. Now it's time to cut loose ties, according to a report issued Wednesday. Paul Holman, who was appointed in 1995 to find a way to straighten out the Indian trust funds, recommends taking the money away from the department and establishing a Quetzal government-mental bank to handle it. The trust funds includes nearly $2 billion held in 2,000 tribal accounts, $500 million held in 3,000 accounts for individual Indians. Under Holman's plan, an $8 million computer system would replace the manual accounting procedure now used by Interior's Bureau of Indian Affairs. Auditors say that the BIA has mishandled the money for years and can't even say for sure what is in many of the accounts. I'm told that Congress doubts the credibility of the Bureau to implement these reforms, and I do too, said Holman, who is the Interior Department Special Trustee for American Indians. They do not have the competence of training or qualifications to run a modern trust system. The Interior Department is working on a plan to reconcile the tribal trust funds and is the largest of a class action lawsuit over its handling of the individual Indian accounts. Last year, auditors reported that the BIA couldn't account for $2.4 million in transactions. Greg Berglund, chairman of the South Dakota Cheyenne River Sioux, said Holman's plan was long overdue, but he predicted that it would meet resistance from tribes who are reluctant to downgrade the BIA, a major Indian employer. It's like that old car you cuss all the time, says Borland, who is a member of Holman's advisory board. Now comes the time to trade in for a new one, but are you willing to do it? This is an issue that was talked about recently by Winona LaDuke, and we have a clip that will discuss what her thoughts were on this issue, and I'm sure it's the same for a lot of people, Indian people, who have been talking about this issue for a long time.
Why it should be that 300,000 Indian people should sue the federal government for mismanagement of our trust funds. I believe it is the largest class action lawsuit in the history against the U.S. government. 300,000 Indian people had to sue the United States government because the U.S. government does not know where our money is, that they are managing for us. Millions and millions of dollars of Indian money, royalties from oil, royalties from forest lands, royalties from grazing fees. The federal government has the money, doesn't know where it is. It would seem to me that a proactive Indian policy, Clinton would have said, I will find the money. I will order GAO to audit the Department of Interior and locate the money. But no, 300,000 Indian people had to sue the federal government to ask where our money was. Military and foreign policy in this country. Why is it those of us who have been to Chiapas or Mexico would ask the same question? Why is it that the United States gives $250 million in military aid?
That was by Winona LaDuke, and as you've seen, she's talking about the same issue that is in the paper. We have a couple more community events that we'd like to mention. There is the powwow at Four Winds that is held monthly, and that is on March 21st, I believe. I'm not sure on the date, but if you have any information concerning that powwow or the other one that is at All Nations Magnet School in St. Paul, you can call the number that we have here, 879-1761. We'll give you the information and what the dates are, the times. They're both held monthly, and they would like to have you come and enjoy yourself and show your support for these schools and our children that attend these schools. So that about covers the articles we have for this month. We hopefully will be doing this show. For now, it's going to be a monthly event, and as we get better, and as you can see, it's not things that we need to work on a little bit, but we appreciate you being here with us and showing us your support, and that is all for now, I guess.
Recitals, I think, are in most cases important.